Lee Sin priority, baby.
Yes.
Divine is on red side going into this first draft. So if they truly respect Valdez as a jungler, they're going to ban the Lee Sin away. Now, EVOS, there should be no reason for them banning Lee Sin on blue side, so they should let it up to Divine to make that choice. The other big pick that has to come into play is the Renekton and the Riven. We already see the Renekton being banned on blue side because EVOS have to know that if they go for the Lee Sin on this first pick, Divine would have been able to trade for it on the other side of the map. And no, that's not the champion you want. You want Lee Sin. You don't want to give it over to Len.
That means they're confident, or Valdez can first just adjust and see what the matchup is, and then pick Fiora. And now for Divine, removing the Olaf, of course, that's something that a Lee Sin wouldn't want to see. So that means this Lee Sin Riven priority pick over towards red side, this is looking to be incredibly strong already because of that big level 3 power spike of both of these champions, especially towards top side. This is a little bit worrisome so far in the draft for EVOS.
Yeah, was this a big... Is this it? I mean, was this basically sort of like the harbinger, I guess, of EVOS Esports' fate right here? They had that opening.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, something interesting is that EVOS are really prioritizing the Ahri for G4. It has shown to be G4's most successful champion during the group stages here. It's went specifically into compositions or teams that want to prioritize a lot of early game aggression going before the first 4 minutes of the game when the Dragon and the Rift Herald spawn, because you can go for some mobile skirmishing. As soon as you hit level 5, you have access to Spirit Rush, so you can go for picks, and you're also taking away from Coyote, who is one of the better champions to pair alongside Lee Sin. And Riku, you called it. It looks like we're going to get the Fiora matchup potentially either in the Baron lane for Tipper or for Valdez in the jungle.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I also really like the Senna pick, though, because it basically sort of neutralizes the lane, especially if you pair that up with a Gragas in the jungle. Oh, not in the jungle, in the bottom portion of the map. So this will sort of eliminate a little bit of that kill potential of the Xayah Rakan 2v2 rather than the usual Kai'Sa lane that we love to see for Cat Satan to make during the late stages of the game. But look at this! It's going to be Coyote on the Fizz. This is going to be crazy. I can't imagine how this lane is going to go. And this assassin versus assassin matchup is going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, and you know, I feel like EVOS Esports, maybe they expected to give the Lee Sin up. Maybe they have something planned over here. Maybe they preferred this draft. Perhaps they're gonna go and target that Lee Sin in the future matches. But right off the bat, I have a bad feeling about this. Divine Esports, it looks like they're just like, okay, we're just gonna do what we do best, which is pretty much, you know, Wild Rift. And EVOS Esports right now, again, they seem to be back to sort of like, you know, a default style, a very predictable one at that. I don't know about you guys. I don't have a good feeling about this on the side of EVOS Esports. And Divine Esports, though, this looks like this could be a great first game.
So for the side of EVOS Esports, the last time they ran this Fiora jungle was against Alliance, and Alliance were running kind of the Goon Squad Avengers Squad composition, where they had a bunch of globals trying to just gank one side of the lane, but then Valdez got a lot of farm. The EVOS are banking that Divine are not going to create enough chaos and aggression that by the time they get to the mid game, Fiora will be scaled up. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Divine's going to end the game before Fiora comes online.
Well, we're gonna see if Valdez indeed has that chance as we enter game 1 between EVOS Esports and Divine Esports. Casters, take us into the Rift.
Well, thank you very much, Mika. We're going into EVOS Esports versus Divine Esports, the battle of the esports, Omo. We're looking to see how these two play it out. Coyote's brought out the Fizz. He's bringing us a treat. It's day 1 of the playoffs. What better way to start things off?
I'll be very honest with you here, Grandin. While everyone is so afraid of Coyote's Fizz, it has been a bit underwhelming for me so far, so hopefully it's a treat for his team and not for EVOS Esports, as we're gonna see him just go aggressive from the get-go.
Yeah, so maybe here to show us a different performance, but
Hopefully.
at the same time, we've also been wondering how G4 has been performing in the context of this competition. We've been a little bit underwhelmed of G4's performance overall, especially considering how good he was in the summer season, going into the Sea Champs, it feels like he's not had that same response.
Yeah, definitely, right? And I think the Des touched on this a bit. I think TJ was the first one to bring it up. GeForce champion pool has been a little bit of an issue for him. Take a look at this, though.
And to start things
Solo
off,
bolo.
Connex against Tipper forces the flash away from the ribbon, but that's about it.
Nearly a solo volo, has to flash away, that's always a good start. Tipper only has to expand barrier, and he's gonna be in full control here. I changed
Oh
that.
my goodness, they're turning things around.
Cast is
Flash
good.
for flash, and both summoners expanded from both sides. But I think Tipper's gonna come back a little bit stronger.
We have Tipper against Hunax up here. Action in the bot lane as well.
I wouldn't call it quite that much action. It's a trade, it's an exchange, but they're gonna back off.
A bit underwhelmed, right? I kind of expected, given that it's a Vietnamese team, that they wouldn't use the second charge of Battle Dance to back off and you would just keep going. But he does indeed. Keep in mind, this is a winner's bracket first match here. If you lose this one, you do drop to the lower bracket. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but you play against one team.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Loser of this match will go up against one team, and well, that is going to be a tough opponent
Yep.
in the lower bracket. But to be fair, one team has been struggling as well, so pretty decent chance overall, I think.
I'm gonna be honest with you here. Yeah, one team has been struggling, but I still would not want to face them in an elimination match. And we see Veldis, he's just going to every lane, just helping them push it out. He's getting farm as well in the process, getting gold, getting experience, while helping his laners get optimal reset timings. So doing a lot across the board. While Lan, he is just trying to power farm up on this Lee Sin. We've seen what these Vietnamese junglers can do when they scale on Lee Sin. We don't typically think of it as a late game pick, but these guys, they will prove you wrong, right?
We've seen quite an interesting uptake with Len and Veldis, you know, going into this jungle match. Veldis has gone into the lane, soaked out a bit more EXP, so he's a little bit ahead of the curve up against Len. And this is interesting because generally Fiora is not thought of as a jungler, but we've been seeing it rise in the jungle position, especially with teams from the Thai region. So hopefully we get to see more of this and how this one's going to play it out and impact things. Dragon will come up in the next minute or so, so I'm quite curious how this is going to play out as G4. She's just going to dash away.
Yeah, G4 just gonna get out of dodge there. He's gonna be fine. And I think that if we want to talk about G4, right, I think that what you were talking about just now was pretty accurate, where you have to keep in mind what G4's champion pool has been like, what G4's problems have been the split, right? When we talk about him in Summer Cup, our analysts touch on this as well. What was so good for G4 back then? He could play roamers, he could go all over the map and do a bunch across the map, influence his top lane, that's the big one. He can play TF, pot on top of Veldis when he's going in aggressive. So many things were just working well, were just going right for the side of EVOS. Now with a bit of a meta change, it's gonna be a bit harder for him, and I think that Ahri, this pick will be a great solution to the issue of G4 not being able to influence the map.
Of course, we have seen G4 play that already before. It has had a couple of appearances in the Sea Championships. We'll look to see if he can manage to improve its win rate or improve its performance throughout this competition. Pulling out against Divine Esports, I mean, frankly, you have to have some level of confidence if you're willing to play in this kind of matchup. So let's see what they want to get done. Veldis is going to reset just before the dragon respawns. It seems EVOS is going to make their way towards the Mountain Drake instead of the Rift Tower. We've seen some priority from both sides before, placed in different areas.
Yeah, both of these teams, they are gonna be walking into setup right now.
But it seems like Divine Esports are the first to get into the pit. Here we have it, EVOS Esports. They're right around the corner. Rich used his ultimate just a few moments earlier, so won't have that going into this dragon fight. But Divine Esports, well, they're taking their time. They're gonna start this one slow. They're actually gonna back away. Give EVOS Esports control around the dragon.
Yeah, this is due to the setup differences.
Oh, this is it. They're getting collapsed on. They're jumping on the Cat in first. Nice shot underwater. Finds a decent amount of damage. They're going into the back line, looking to take them down.
That's one.
This is that Lee Sin pick they were talking about. They
That's
take down
two.
Rich, take down Cat Satan, and Coyote's still alive. How can you feel underperformance from this Fizz where he's making things look so good, Omo?
Well, I have to be honest with you here. I don't know why Katsatan was in front of everyone, face tanking the fish. You have a Fiora who can use the repulse. You have a Gragas who's relatively tanky, but it's Senna who catches the fish. That's just wrong, right? That's like you go fishing and right from the get-go you catch the biggest, most expensive fish you could get. Something clearly is wrong in the setup there for EVOS.
I think that this team, even though they got the mid priority first, even though they got into River first, too many things were wrong in terms of setup, in terms of who positions where, and it seems like a misunderstanding of their roles. Tipper, he's trying his best here to defend this turret, but 1-on-3, he might have to give it up.
And he's gonna watch out against this. Dawning Shadow
A
comes
bit early,
across,
yeah.
gonna get healed up as well. Here we have it, a knocker coming through from Quay. A little bit more damage from Len's gonna find it. A flash forward from Hope as they take down the Darius in the bomb side, but EVOS Esports gonna trade in the opposite lane.
They lose the kill, they lose their Baron laner, but they get the first turret thanks to the Rift Herald. That's gonna be a bit upsetting for them though, I think, because well, I was gonna say they're still gonna lose this bot side turret, but look at the rotations from EVOS. This is really good stuff. G4 uses his ability to fast push mid lane as an Ahri with the Orb of Deceptions, gets the reset in, comes down bot lane to catch this wave, while his dragon lanes rotate to the mid lane, catch the waves there, and then you have Tipper going up to the Baron lane, and everything has evened out. You get the 1-3-1 setup that EVOS were looking for, and this comes down to good usage of their mid priority. Though you gotta keep in mind, they are a little bit behind in gold. They got the first turret, but they lost the kills. They lost the dragon to Divine. So I think Divine, they're still happy about how this game is going.
And a big part of this as well is the gold's been funneled into the right players from Divine Esports, whereas EVOS has had to share and kind of split that localized gold in that first turret. They're looking to maybe take Coyote out here, but he's going to be able to dash away. I mean, it is a Fizz.
It is a Fizz. This was a bit of
Rabadon's first item Fizz.
Very ambitious play, I would say. I don't really know what the idea behind that was, but it's fine. You know, they need to send Coyote a message that, you know what, you don't get to do this for free. But I think he does, Grandin. Look at his items right now. Death Cap, close to the Lich Bane. He's 1,000 gold up on Ahri. And keep in mind that this is a counter pick. If you throw the Charm the Waters on him, he needs to Spirit Rush away. He needs to use multiple charges to get away from you. And once that is down, you know what's happening the next time you get on top of him.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to jump on you. It's the Predator.
Oh,
it's
he
a small
is.
fish, but he has a big bite.
I was trying to think of something about like a big fish in a small pond or something like that, but it really doesn't apply here. He's a big fish in an even bigger pond, and he's looking to eat up EVOS Esports right now. If you look at the solo lanes across the board, Tan X, he's huge as well. Both of the solo laners on Divine, 6,000 plus gold, while EVOS, their solo laners are barely scraping 5,000 gold. It's not looking like a great start for EVOS right now. If the 1-3-1 comes true for Divine, I doubt there's going to be an answer. And teamfight setups, it's going to be so difficult. Katsatan is not going to get away in.
But I love how aware EVOS Esports were to not overextend the bomb side, especially when they didn't have information. They made sure that Rich and Katsina were far enough away from the turret that he couldn't get dove by Divine Esports. It's a very smart play, and they're very aware of what they're doing. Glenn's going to make his way to the top end, but they're not going to be able to find much more done. Just take the turret and get out.
You know what I rarely say when we talk about Divine? Something that we have touched on before is when the situation calls for it, they really can be disciplined. And that's exactly what we're seeing from them right now. They feel no need to force. When Coyote was taking the bot side turret, that thought.
Oh, they're looking to force onto this one though. Coyote's going to face off against the Grand Challenge. Velda's coming in, collapsing in. G4 dashes back in the Spirit Rush for the confirmed kill. Now, maybe looking to force a flash away from Katsina. Tipper's going to be in the way, blocking Divine Esports.
They got the kill on Coyote, but look at the ultimate statuses right now. 15 seconds on the Dragon. Coyote will be back a little bit late, but EVOS have no ultimates. They cannot contest this.
Well, there we have it. Divine Esports were able to grab quite a number of key ultimates away from EVOS Esports.
Quite a number. That's like 4 out of 5.
That's 4 out of 5. I mean, that's a big number.
It's quite the number. I have to agree
almost.
with you there.
I don't know how to go past this. Right here we have it. EVOS Esports
want to fight
trying to
this.
collapse back in. They go into the mist first, trying to get some information, trying to maybe pull this one away, but have it. Once again, Quay finds a beautiful engage. It looks like deja vu because I'm seeing the same fight break out from the start to finish. Len comes across with a massive amount of damage with the Dragon's Rage. Tan X still forces EVOS Esports away. They're watching for the Dragon. The Chan the Waters, the Guppy gonna come up, gonna grab onto Rich. Maybe a little bit more damage might find it, but EVOS Esports huddled together, and Divine has such a difficult way breaking in.
Well, we say that, but look at Tan X right now. Oh, my goodness, that is so cheeky.
They find him there, and Tan X dodges away from the charm, and they get the, well, they're picking up the Dragon to get it now.
Yeah, and honestly, Divine Esports, they are one step ahead. They're playing it one step better. They're so aggressive, and they want more.
and once again looking for this dive. I mean, Rich is coming back in with the ultimate, but I don't think there's going to be enough. Dawning Shadow comes across.
Coyote.
Coyote, he's back on the gray
no.
screen. The 2 kills that EVOS have found have both been on the Fizz, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough because Divine Esports jump back in to wait for the cross to come across. Len's going to get caught out, turns golden, but still falls as he tries to dash away. Eventually goes down. Tunnec cannot save him.
And Divine, they want more, and there's no such thing as enough. They're just gonna keep going. They got the kills, they got the dragon, and they want to go for a redive, but they took too long because they already took the dragons, reset timers, respawn timers. They were all coming back up for EVOS, and honestly, a bit of over-aggression there for Divine. I knew I shouldn't have started talking about how they can play discipline when they need to, because that's their cue to go wild out, to go crazy, and try to really outplay EVOS, like we've been seeing in most of these dragon fights. And honestly, Quer, he's been a very instrumental part of that. He's been finding consistently multi-man engages onto the backline of EVOS, and this has been just an insane teamfight performance from Divine. Nothing ridiculous in lane. They're not solo killing you 30 times before laning phase ends. They're just coming to teamfights, setting up well, getting on you, getting the right execution in, and killing your entire team. Great stuff from Divine to start things off.
As expected, you wouldn't expect Divine Esports to solo kill their opponents all so much. I mean, it is still a very strong opponent with EVOS, but the fact is they are able to team fight so well. And like I mentioned earlier, it looks like deja vu. It's the same fight at the same spot. It's Quay jumping into the back and drawing so much attention to himself while the rest of his team is able to offload their damage. And now that Tunnec is frankly becoming stronger and stronger. He's 2 items deep, Omo. He's 2 items deep, plus his boots enchantment is completed. He's just looking like a menace, especially as they start playing around these neutral objectives. Well, here we have it once again. EVOS Esports trying to take some control around the neutral objective. They know if they step off Baron, Divine will steal it.
Take a look at where Tipper is standing right now. He has to constantly wander between the dragon lane as well as where his team is. He doesn't dare to walk out. He needs to wait for the wave to come in before he catches it. He knows if he walks into Tunnec, he is going to die. So he's trying to find ways to help his team. But it looks like Divine, they might want to dive this right now.
They're watching. They're looking for G4 perhaps. They're not staying top of ward, so EVOS don't have quite much information. But Divine will back off. Maybe just go back to the Baron lane, try and clear out the waves, try and set up for the Baron when it's available. But EVOS Esports, I mean, I'm feeling the tension for them. I'm not even playing this game, but I'm feeling the tension because they are trying their best to just hold on here. They find a charm. Maybe this is the call for action as they try and jump on to hope, but won't be able to find much more damage down. G4 is going to go golden as they look to take down Tunnec. He's going to have to go to stasis himself. Dodges away from the charm, but won't be able to survive as they come in with Tipper leading the fray, leading EVOS Esports into Divine as they take down 3. And now somehow EVOS Esports come ahead in this fight.
I'll tell you how, Grandin. They once again dive too deep. Completely unnecessary. Charm, it's a non-committal form of engage. Cask, it's a non-committal form of engage. EVOS, they are fishing and they get out when they need to. Now they're making mistakes on the side of Divine, and EVOS, they're using their catch com. They're using their non-committal pick to just catch them one after another.
And they're onto the inhibitor turret right now. Len has to do the best that he can to try and prevent this, but it's going to go down either way. Tunnec's coming back alive soon. EVOS Esports find an ace and break open the mid lane.
And what's going wrong here for Divine, Grandin? What did we say they needed to do? They needed to 1-3-1. EVOS have no answers to that. They keep trying to force a mid lane is the problem. They keep trying to dive. They keep trying to accelerate their leads. Look at this from EVOS right now. They go for non-committal engages, and that's it. The fight is over. It's done. Divine, they're out. They trade 1-for-1 on the alties. You can go back to sidelining. But the problem is they want more. Coyote, something we missed early on is he missed his flash. He whiffed it in the wrong direction when trying to flash over the wall. Missed completely all of his spells. Like I said, underwhelming Fizz performances. He had a great first fight, but other than that, I think it just encourages them to be a bit too aggressive, and that's very punishing here for Divine. Now I can tell you, this 5v5 for the Dragon, Grandin, this one is going to spell out the game.
Well, EVOS Esports are the first to get back into the pit. Divine are watching out for this, but look at Hope One. He's far away. He still has to deal with the super minion waves, and EVOS Esports in this time is going to start the Dragon. Looking like they might want to pick it up first. Yeah, Zion's going to start rotating over first. Coyote is once again looking for this angle to maybe catch Katsei.
This is so good for EVOS because of the super creeps, because Veldus is always the one in front pressuring the waves. Divine know that if we ever commit to the river, EVOS, they're going to run it into our base, and Veldos is going to track them to end. So they make the right call. They say, we cannot contest this. We have to give it up. We're going to farm up. We're going to regain our gold lead, and we're going to look for the fight another day. But my question is, Grandin, is another day going to come too late? Veldos has hit level 13. He's going to be scary on this Fiora. Picked up a triple in the last fight. We said how Divine, there was no answers to their split push. But now with the items in the pocket of Veldos, 3 completed items, he's the biggest in the game. Bar Tan X, bar Coyote, and I think he can definitely take them on because he is a Fiora. So things are looking a little bit iffy here for Divine.
You look at EVOS, look at Divine. Gold right now looks about even, but what EVOS have is a clear track into the Nexus, into the base of Divine. One misstep, one slip up from Divine means EVOS Esports will walk in and take the Nexus. So if you get aced here, this is disaster for Divine Esports. It's such a bad spot for them to be in, and the waves are constantly crashing into Divine Esports side. Even right now, you take a look in the mid lane, that Super Minion is gonna make the wave push back towards Divine, and they constantly have to be on alert for it.
And honestly, Gaminism, if you look at how the game state was 5 minutes ago, you cannot tell me that Divine did not completely throw this game away. They had it in their pockets. EVOS, they could not answer side waves. They had to be careful checking river, and now look at them. Now the world is their oyster, and Divine, they're the ones that have to play on the back foot. For Tan X to even touch the bottom wave now, Lan has to be there covering him. Things are looking so difficult for Divine, and they might not be the fastest Baron takers on the side of EVOS, but they definitely have some damage with the Fiora. So you need to be very careful on Divine's side.
You know what, Omo? I'm just gonna keep running with my same theory. The Vietnamese region teams always have to drop the first game of the day because that's they need to get the jitters out. They need to get the solo queue out of them. And from that point on,
they need to have
games
some
2 to
fun.
4,
Let's rephrase that. They
it's
need
a
to have
3-0.
their fun at the start of the day. Get it out of their system. Get some happy games in, and then they're ready to serious it up. Because if you look at how the first 2 dragons were set up, it was picture perfect from Divine, and then they decided, you know what? We're getting a little bit bored. Let's go dive some turrets.
Absolutely, and they had some good fun moments in that, but would cost Divine a lot of tempo here as EVOS Esports has managed to crawl their way back in, but now they're trapped in the jungle, they're moving together as a 5-man unit. Coyote misses out on the chant of water. This could be disastrous. Divine Esports back away, but Quay is still going to go for the engage anyway to get the cask off in the back, blocks some of the damage from Divine Esports. They're still chasing after Valda's going to run in onto Len, but he has Guardian Angel, difficult to take him down. EVOS going to go back on the Baron instead.
This is the Baron angle, and they take it so fast. If they have 5 on the Baron, they're not going to make it back here in time. Lan has smite, but he's nowhere to be found.
5,000 left on the Baron. Tan X going to jump over the pit, get into the wall. Coyote as well. The play for Trickster, maybe trying to take them one down, but it's unfortunate. Divine Esports won't be able to find it, but he's stealing away anyway. It's down to Coyote. The grab, the Baron, play for Trickster, flash, doesn't matter. We'll forgive you for that one. Divine, steal it away.
Divine, they steal it away, but they lose 3. 40 seconds on the death timers. Do EVOS want to run it down here? I think they can get rendered.
They're going to run it down. It's 30 seconds left on the death timers. It's only the support in the jungle. There's no way that Divine Esports can prevent this. EVOS Esports might have lost the Baron, but they're still looking for the game. Moving on to the Nexus, flashing forward, gets the upper hand, pulls in 2. And Divine Esports find the charm onto Len, onto the Nexus. There's nothing left. EVOS Esports find the first game win.
And there was nothing we could say there except that Divine, they had the game in their hands.
Where the lanes are already locked. So I'm looking forward to, I'm not going to be surprised if Len still gets his Lee Sin, but maybe Valdez will not have his Fiora.
I would argue that it's not necessarily the Fiora that caused the problem, but I think it's actually either the Senna or the Gragas that has to go if you're Divine Esports, because the Senna Gragas as a Dragon Duo lane is just undiveable. You have to deal with Last Embrace and Body Slam and so much innate sustain in that lane that it is just so hard to crack. Now, something interesting occurred here in this ban phase. Divine early banned the Renekton on their side instead of the Ziggs, which then forced EVOS to ban Ziggs. It has just resulted in a neutral exchange of bans on both teams, but I wonder if Divine were trying to fish for potentially a Ziggs pick on their side so that they can give it to Hope for a little bit of extra backline damage, because one of the things that you can look at is that it was hard to crack EVOS's Senna, because after Lee Sin and Fizz could no longer get into the backline through the front line that EVOS had built up, Senna is just free hitting in these team fights. Now, Divine, they're pivoting here, no longer the Riven priority for Ton-X. They're now trying to get Ahri for Coyote, so this forces G4 to pick something else in this draft.
Yeah, he could definitely pick something safe. I feel like one of the common matchups we usually see against the Ahri is a Diana. And we've seen the 1v1 workout in favor of a Diana before. And, you know, G4 possibly not even needing the setups, but we'll see what the jungle pick is going to be, because most likely it will rely on that jungle and mid lane synergy to be able to match up against this very strong level 3, level 5 of a spike coming from Len and Coyote as well.
And this seems like a little bit of a deja vu from the
Yeah.
first game. Little differences here and there, of course, that Ahri being one of them. I feel like, you know, that's specifically, like, of course, that's targeted G4, but it looks like he could pick up that Orianna going into the mid lane, quite possibly. But yeah, again, Len on the Lee Sin. Bit of a tongue twister over there. Len on the Lee Sin. That is definitely, you know, saying to Valdez, like, this is my jungle. This is my jungle. You are just a visitor over here, and pretty much going to kick you out. Final draft coming in here. What are your thoughts?
This is essentially a salty run back. The only thing that Divine have done is they said, all right, G4, no more mobility for you. No longer you will get to have a chance with this Ahri. Now, G4 is back onto the Orianna, something that he was, you know, outside of the Ziggs and the Twisted Fate and Galio, he was really kind of known for as like a reserve pick during the Summer Sea Icon Championships. But the lack of mobility outside of Flash means that G4 is more of a target, or a potential target for the side of Divine Esports to crack during the early game. You have Ahri Charm to set up for picks so that Len can get in and finish off with the Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike, or even looking for Dragon's Rage combos. I still think that Divine Esports, I mean, they just need to be able to crack the game and go for dives. It's still not going to be possible through this Senna Gragas Dragon.
Yeah, we're gonna see if they can get that dive into EVOS Esports indeed as we head into game 2. Casters, take it away.
We're going into game number 2. It's EVOS Esports up against Divine Esports, and EVOS Esports, well, they're out here breaking all our predictions. They are 1-0 leading the series up against Divine. And what a good start we have here. Omo and Tipper's back on this Darius. He's here to make a play.
He is back on this Darius, but I say the plays are gonna come from Ton-X here on this Riven. Everyone doing a bit of moonwalking as we get into the game. I mean, a bit of a salty run back like Aldeskit. That's pretty much the truth. But I do want to point out, I think there are some nice little adaptations from both of these teams. And I think that both of the changes to the mid lane champions really fit what both of these teams want to do individually. G4, he's coming to the game and he's saying, you know what? When we take these team fights, when we take these skirmishes against Divine, they didn't really work out. Let's not do that the next game. Let's just chill, wave clear, farm under our tower, and wait for them to dive us again. He changes, pivots around, picks up the Orianna, which will fit that role so much better. And you have Coyote saying, you know what? Maybe Fizz just isn't it. And then he goes for Ahri, which is a good counter pick to the Orianna. It's a very good setup for the Lee Sin, and it makes sure that their skirmishes are so strong. Oof, Tipper.
I mean, run it back. This is what happened in game number 1 as well. Ton-X, you know, he's just in a dominant position in lane. Takes both sums away from Tipper. I'm curious if this is going to actually convert into an advantage. Len's going to make his way to the top side. This is it. They're looking for a dive. They're going to jump onto Tipper.
Boy.
Len's walking in. There we have it. When the Sonic Wave Resonating Strike has to flash away from the turret, the Emperor Hen will be enough to deter the Lee Sin. And what a start from both teams.
And Tipper will live for now. He will get out of dodge. Ton-X, though, he's going to get a bit of a lead. He's going to be able to shove this into the turret and reset. It's going to be a pretty nice situation for him to be in. I think the cannon wave means that Tipper doesn't miss all too much. Ton-X, though, the main thing to take note of right now, he has the flash advantage. Len does blow his own flash, but Ton-X, he's going to be happy with the next couple of skirmishes. Going to be able to flash dodge things like the Hammerage and whatnot. It will give him a lead over Tipper. Now the question is, if they do get that lead, what do they do this time around? Because last game, Divine, you gotta keep in mind, their solos had a massive lead, but they weren't able to find anything with it. What's gonna happen this time around?
Something that I want to point out is that Divine Esports is going to run it back again with the Zyricon bot side.
Yeah.
And we can have a lot of criticism for Divine. One criticism I don't think we share is Quay, I think he did a great job in the last game. And so going back on this Rakan, still feel like it's a very impactful pick. Ton-X against Tipper, you know, this is a pretty aggressive lane overall.
It is gonna be a very aggressive lane, and we saw this in the last game as well, right? Both of these players trading sums, trading HP. It's a very extremely aggressive lane. I'm really running out of adjectives to describe it, but this lane is really gonna be an important factor.
It's a
this
ton
side of the
X
game.
style lane.
It's
That's
a
all
ton
you have to
X
say.
tipper lane. I think you gotta
A
keep that in
ton
mind.
X
It's
tipper.
these two powerhouses. When we talk about who the best Baron laners are coming into the tournament, these guys are definitely in contention in the top 3, in the top 5, something along those lines. So it's not surprising that we're seeing here in this matchup, these players are really just duking it out.
Being able to get some form of a lead early on is going to be really impactful, because once they start playing around the Dragon, around the Rift Herald, I mean, just having the stronger Baron lane is what's probably going to tip the favors onto your side. And so as those objectives start to spawn up, Koi is already starting to rotate. Len is going to be up the top side. I'm curious if this is going to once again be Divine Esports and EVOS Esports contesting for this Dragon, especially since it's that Infernal.
Yeah, it's going to be very likely. I mean, we saw what happened last game when it hit the 4-minute mark on cue. As the timer dinks 4, both of these teams, they are setting up for the 5v5. We saw a 5-0 mid setup from EVOS, while Divine, they were doing a bit of a 4-1 situation, pushing out the bottom lane as well. But the most important thing to take note of was that Divine, they managed to get the setup. They managed to find the picks before they started the Dragon fight. They don't have the Fizz, but they have the Ahri this time around, so that's going to be a very viable option for them yet again. And here we go, Divine, as if on clockwork. They are setting up, they're in position. Anyone walks in river, they're going to die. What's this?
Oh my goodness, the Broken Wings comes across Ton X,
bleed.
flashes away
Oh,
for the
boy.
decimating strike, but the bleed will take him down, his first blood. And like you mentioned, Omo, they needed to find the picks. Instead, they get caught off, but they're jumping on the G4 instead, trying to equalize in the mid lane. Nice shockwave comes across. Quay will almost go down, but Veldus won't be able to convert that into a kill. They're jumping on the Hope 1 next, and they might be able to take down Len in this process, because look at the damage coming across from Veldus. They
boy.
found the Lee Sin and Jungler dead on Divine Esports.
Things are looking bad here for Divine. It seems like EVOS, they have cracked the code. They have figured out the way Divine, they want to play this. They know they're going to set up. They know that they're going to camp here for you to face check. They're going to look for picks. And the moment EVOS did that, Divine, they pounce on them. The problem is this time around, EVOS, they are waiting in the wings. Valdez is here to counter engage. Rich and Ketsutan, they are in position. And now the Tipper, he got the lead for himself with the solo kill. He's going to come down first. He's going to be in position first. They're going to push out the waves first. Divine, you know how they are. You know how they are. You know how these Vietnamese teams play. They're not going to give you an objective. They're not going to give you an inch without
Absolutely
fighting
not.
over it, without bleeding for it. And here we go again. They want this.
I mean, both sides' ultimates on cooldown. A lot of the summoners down as well, so it's really a question who performs better without those massive spells. Divine Esports now looking to try and collapse, get tempo, get control back around the Dragon Pit. And look at Tipper, he's down the bottom side. It's going to take some time to rotate back over, but not long enough that Divine Esports can sneak away this Dragon.
No, but the Dragon's already been started. It's dropping really slowly because no one wants to use spells on it. This might be a bit tricky here because Lan, he's taking quite a bit of damage.
Absolutely, Tipper's going to walk in now. Here we have it. Rich is going to lead the charge. Explosive cast separates the back line.
finds
Divine
nothing.
Esports are so lost. Have no idea where the fight is going. Tipper's going to take down the first. No jungler, no smite. Divine Esports still sees Ton X trying to jump back in to play
Heal.
the exile. Broken Wings will take down one more, but Veldus chasing after the sole remaining members of
boy.
Divine Esports. They have to flash over the wall to survive.
It's a 2-for-2 here, Grandin, but Divine, they lose their jungler first, which means that EVOS, they pick up the Fire Dragon. Now, the Rift Herald is still alive, Grandin, and you know what that means, right? We're going to see a bit of a brawl here in the mid lane.
It's Charm on the Tipper. Ignite ticking down low. Dawning Shadow comes across. Will keep the Darius safe. And EVOS Esports once again not punished here.
Yeah, EVOS, they trade 2-for-2, but they get the first turret, and this is going to be Rift Herald started off by Divine. It's a bit of a deja vu situation. It's kind of what we saw in the last game. EVOS, they don't really care about the Herald. They're willing to just let you have it. If you spend the time to take it, they will raise you on the other side of the map, and then you have to spend the Rift Herald getting the same objective that they just took without it. Well, you know, just as I say that, they don't need it this time.
I think this is deja vu, but on the opposite side, because I think EVOS were the ones that lost the Dragon fight last game and then got the Rift Herald and then broke open the Baron lane. So it's almost as if the script has been flipped on its head.
A little
and
bit.
Divine Esports are now the ones to lose tempo here.
They lose out on the tempo, and now the good news for Divine Esports is they still have the Rift Herald. They didn't need to expand it to trade towers, and with that, that's going to be so extremely important here. What do we see Divine struggle with in the last game, Grandin? They had problems breaking open mid, and opening the map up. They couldn't find the ways to open the map up. Now with Rift Herald still available, you're really gonna hard counter the Orianna because she just wants to sit mid, clear waves. Now she can't do that anymore if you just slam the Herald down on the mid turret.
I'm curious if they're also gonna use this to maybe pull pressure away from Tanex or Coyote or whoever it's going to be while in a split push kind of situation. Last game we kind of identified that Divine Esports was supposed to run at 1-3-1 and they didn't exactly execute according to the win conditions. This time around maybe might try to pull for something like that instead. But going into this, EVOS Esports have been doing such a great job controlling the lanes. Rift Herald gonna be used mid lane. EVOS Esports coming back in. They're collapsing quickly. That's explosive pass. They find the catch right onto Hope 1. He can only jump up. But the Feather Storm won't save him because the bleed comes across. Len uses the Dragon Rage to disengage. But oh my goodness, EVOS.
And Gamenism, how did EVOS win the fight the last game? How did they turn it around the last game? It's in the exact same position. They find Hope 1 at the mid turret. They cast him into your turret. They chain CC him. And they blow him up, take the fight. And now they want more yet again.
Once again, it's Quaid has to be the one to engage and jump into the mid side. Nice catch from the center. And Coyote has Spirit Rush away. Rich is looking low, but unfortunately, Len won't be able to finish off the kill. EVOS once again back on for free.
They have to back off, and we see a bit of a 1v1 here. But what's interesting in the side lane is not Tipper, it's not G4 catching the side waves, it's Valdez on this Fiora. He's level 10, he's a level up on your Baron laner. This jungler, he's gonna be a hyper carry yet again, and it seems like this time around, EVOS, they're identifying we can control the side lanes, we can push the side lanes, and we have the priority here. Tanex, he's forced to back away from Valdez, and this is such a tricky situation to be in. You don't win the 5v5s, you don't win the side lanes. What do you do as Divine?
Homo, is this the EVOS Esports playoff buff? Is
Oh,
this
they've
what
come
we're
to play.
expecting to see from them? They've come in here looking so much better than they did in the group stage. And it almost seems like they've been holding their cards back.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Not wanting to expose everything so early on.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that they were, you know, like sandbagging or hiding strats or anything along those lines. It just seems like they found their groove here, right? In game 1, things were definitely not looking good for EVOS. It looked like what we expected from the series. But suddenly, Divine, they just seem to have lost their groove, and EVOS, they found theirs, which is exactly what we're going to look out for in the series as we're going into the next pivotal Dragon fight here.
Dragon available, Baron also available, so whichever team loses this one could very likely see the Baron go over to the other side. This time around though, EVOS Esports won't have an easy fast track into the opponent's base, so Divine have a lot more leeway to make an aggressive move here. And now with this charm, I'm curious if this is actually going to change
No
things.
damage, right? And this is what went wrong in game 1. EVOS, they had their carry clipped by the fish. This time around, they're setting up so much better. Tipper is always in front. Rich is always in front. They'll block the skill shot. What's Valdez doing?
He's playing a 1v2. He doesn't care about what Divine Esports have to say. He's just jumping in on them. Tanex goes so low at the start of the fight. And Len, he's out of commission. He can't join back in. Walks away from the shockwave. Coyote trying to kite away. G4's going to come across, runs out of mana. Len tries to move back in, gets caught by the apprehend, and will go down. The flash won't save him, but the Dragon's Rage might.
There is still the Dawning Shadows. Is he going to try to snipe this? Guess not.
Cat is going to hold on to that Dawning Shadow into the mid lane. Instead, he's going to save Rich for now. Here comes across. The Ignite won't be enough to take him down. Quaid dashes away. Tanex gets out as well. And Divine Esports will be able to escape without losing anybody in this fight.
But look at their health bars. They're all blinking red. One more damage. One more tick of health. And multiple members of Divine, they would have dropped in the fight. And how did it all begin? Valdez, he was in their jungle. Like you said, he was 1v2ing. And you know what the crazy part is? He was winning the 1v2 against Len and Tanex. He used his out, sure, but he chunked them so low that they just weren't able to contest. And if you get Divine low before they can set up, you see what happens. They kind of fall apart. Divine, they looked so lost. They didn't know what to do, where to go. They had no options. And EVOS, they are just looking like they're in full control. They found their playoffs form, I guess, because Divine, they have no answers.
Len getting so much closer to the Guardian Angel, but it's still a distance away, and so this next fight, he won't quite have that to be able to make these aggressive moves. Instead, he's going to have to recall, reset, come back into this. EVOS Esports now. I'm curious if this is going to be the chance for them to start putting pressure on the Baron, force Divine to walk into them because they have key ultimates like that Shockwave that make them such a threat around these neutral objectives.
I think it's gonna be a bit hard here to start the Baron for EVOS because you don't have significant enough damage to make it really convincing. What I think they really want to do here, you can be patient. Let your Orianna farm, let your Fiora farm, let your Senna get souls. Wait for every dragon to spawn, set up first, 5-5, front to back. You are never losing a fight to Divine. They are running out of options. If you look at Veldus for the last 2 minutes, he's eaten the entire map of farm. Top to bot, he farmed everything. 10,000 gold right now. This Fiora, he is gonna be a raid boss. No one on Divine can fight him, Grandin.
Well, he's looking stronger and stronger. I mean, he's getting closer to the Muramana as well, and so that's something to watch out for. Divine will suffer against EVOS in the mid side, who are looking to try and crash in the wave.
That's
Get the
not
catch
it.
back onto Hope. Wang Kui just jump in as well.
Oh, Tan
The
X.
flame comes across from Tan X. Might be able to find something, but look at how little damage they have.
Oh,
Won't be able to take
man.
anyone down. The Ignite's coming across from Tan X, but he's gonna get collapsed on. Rich jumping in with a body slam. They look to take down the Riven, chasing after some more. EVOS Esports are pressuring Divine and forcing them to make a move, forcing them to make a play.
Lamb playing with a bit of fire there, but like you said, there's really nothing that Divine can do. They are pressured to make a play. Why? Because Veldus is killing your entire top side. He solo killed Coyote. Keep in mind here, Grandin, Ahri has 3 dashes. He even expanded Flash. So 4 dashes and you cannot get away from Veldus? That's probably a sign that this one is over here for Divine. I gotta be honest with you. That's
Well, we
1,
can look
that's
back at
2,
the replay.
that's 3, that's 4. You have nowhere to go!
Truly unfortunate for Coyote. Such a difficult spot to be in now that he can't deal with Veldus at all. Well, Divine are going to try and get some control around the Baron
think
because
you
if they
flip
don't get
this.
this now,
I
it's
think you
going to be
flip this.
so difficult.
Yeah, you have to flip
So they
this.
can steal something away again. Veldus is going to suffer a little bit of damage against Divine Esports,
No
but they
chance.
hesitate to pull the trigger. The rest of EVOS, no information on where they are.
Yep. Divine, they can no longer let the game go on in its current game state. The longer it goes, the more they're gonna bleed. They can never fight Fiora on the side lane ever again. Veldus is not someone who's likely to throw the game. He's a very stable player. He can make the plays, and here we go.
Look at Veldus. Look at the bank of Veldus. So much damage coming across, but he's still going to go down. Perhaps
Causes
Falling Shadow
stress.
comes in, keeps him alive a little bit longer.
Oh, here we go, kick!
Exactly like you mentioned, they get the kick back onto G4, might be able to take down the Orianna quickly enough. A little bit more damage will do the job. Unfortunately, he's still surviving, still alive at this point. Rich coming in, he takes down Hope 1! What a sniper, the Gragas teleport coming back in from Tanex, looking to join back into the fight, but look at the damage coming across from EVOS. Where is this coming from? You thought that Veldus was a damage
Look
source?
at Ketsutan.
Well, just kidding, because now Ketsutan is looking just as strong, just as deadly. They take they're looking to get down onto Town X. And might be able to find the Riven as he's just dashing across, maybe looking to get away. But Tipper has his number, the bleed is
Rich.
slowly taking him down. He's running down the river, but Rich joining back in as well. The last auto attack from Darius finds it. And Divine have lost 3.
And this is destruction here for Divine. They cannot do anything against the members of EVOS. This is going to be a free Baron as well. The only positive upside, Len is still alive. Maybe he can steal this?
Is this going to be a repeat? Can Coyote maybe make something happen again? Make a miracle
Rich
play
knows
happen?
this.
Lens coming back in. And they're going to try and prevent
3K.
this. Rich just by the side, looking to try and stop them. Hope coming out as well. Lens holding by the angle, trying to get information, trying to jump into the pit, but it's so difficult.
needs to
2,000 left on the Baron. Lens jumping into the pit now, but they're holding on. They're waiting, not looking to take this one down just yet. It's going to be Veldus that secures it this time around. And Coyote losing
Look at
HP
G4.
to G4 over by the side, who's flanked them, who's coming with the shockwave, who's taking them down. Hope 1 will fall, and Veldus chasing after the 3rd.
You've got nowhere
Can
to go.
Coyote get away? He won't be able to. It's a triple kill for this Fiora.
Next game, you need to ban away this Fiora. Veldus is just a ticking time bomb. And you know what's really insane to me, Gaminism? The best Fiora player that we're seeing at this tournament is a jungler. He's not even a Baron laner. He's the one that understands the champion. He's the one that knows what he needs to do. And EVOS Esports, they play so much better in Game 2. A much more solid performance. They stem the tide of the Divine aggression, and they are going to pull ahead to match point here.
Watch out for playoffs bust EVOS Esports. They take down the final kill. Ton X will fall as the Nexus follows soon after 2-0 for EVOS Esports.
14-5 EVOS Esports. This is a statement from them. Keep in mind, they barely made it out of groups as the 3rd.
Because they are hype. They're seeing their Summer Sea Icon Championship winning team back in form.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that EVOS are able to bypass possibly what is Divine's Esports' best stage of the game without even even a break of a sweat even. Game 1, it was a little bit more difficult, but Game 2, it just seems so easy, and they're like, oh yeah, we're totally comfortable then just picking Fiora jungle every single time if Lemon isn't going to get anything done within the first 10 minutes, and then therefore Valdez is going to look great. Hey, now, look at this. The Olaf ban wasn't dropped, but they took away the Fiora and the Senna.
Yes.
Look at us, Riku. We're such big brain analysts. There's even though we might not get the prediction rate right on this series so far, at least we can identify what the problems are in the draft.
Yeah, exactly. And Divine taking a page out of EVOS Esports' blue side draft where, okay, we're gonna get this big cast, this big disengage, and as well as engage with a flash and body slam. EVOS though, Renekton Lee Sin, by the way, is open, one of the strongest priority red side picks, especially EVOS has constantly did this back in the summer season. This is looking so far, I mean, I know this is just the first 2 picks, but this is incredibly strong, and now Divine has no choice but to pick up the Darius and see if they can win the level 1 Dipper versus Tanex in this matchup.
This changes, though, Divine's Dragon Lane combo. For the past 2 games, they've been running Zayad Rakan. I expect that the Kha'Zix should come in, though, as Len's counterpick of choice into the Lee Sin. Kha'Zix can't necessarily tango with Lee Sin in the first few levels, but once he gets his first evolve on that, the extra evolved isolated claws damage for Taste Their Fear, then you can start dueling the Lee Sin. My only concern, though, is the amount of mobility that EVOS Esports now have. They're going to have Slice and Dice for Renekton, Lee Sin just an overall champion, and then G4 gets to have the Ahri once again, which is by far the best champion that has looked at least for them. Now, Divine Esports, Riku, they're pivoting with this Galio. This could be cool.
Yeah, because EVOS, a very all-in comp, therefore will need this Galio to deter. It's very easy to sort of counter because you just not use your taunt, wait for EVOS to go in. Now, Corki, that means, will we see a Thresh perhaps coming from Rich or a Janna? Something that can roam along towards the lanes. But never mind, it's gonna be a Braum instead, which of course they will really need for disengage. And because Divine Esports just has so much backline access, just because, Len just leaping in, Hero's Entrance coming from Quay. The same thing if ever Tanex decides to form a flank, or perhaps when Hope 1 reaches that late game, then Killer Instinct into the backline, threaten Cat Satan, and basically Quay can follow through with his ult. So there's just so many combos that can potentially happen, and I feel like this hunting squad that Coyote and Len is going to form, I feel like this is much better than the Lee Sin Ahri combo that they wanted to push through in the previous game.
Yeah, this changes up EVOS Esports' identity going into this game. There's no longer a hyper-scaling jungler in Valdez's pocket. The only scaling portion of this is actually just going to come from the Corki. So that gives a little bit of relief for the side of Divine Esports that they don't have to deal with this Fiora anymore. But this is going to bring us a different flavor of EVOS, because now we are expecting to see Valdez being super aggressive and hyper focused rather than being more on the farming side.
Not to mention you have comfort picks coming in for Tipper and G4, so it seems like Divine Esports, they just got big brain by EVOS. Is EVOS Esports gonna take this all the way, or is this the start of the comeback for Divine Esports? We're gonna find out. Casters, over to you guys.
Alright, and we're jumping into this. It's Divine Esports versus EVOS Esports. Grab your coffee, wake up, because EVOS definitely having it. Going back into this one, looking on form, Omo. This is the team we wanted to see.
And you know why you should be getting your coffee, everybody? Because the series is not over yet. Look at the draft. Listen to what our amazing analyst pointed out. EVOS seemed like they just got big brain by Divine. I really like the draft here from Divine. Swapping to blue side. Get rid of the Fiora pick. Now, Tan X, you are very happy with this matchup. I would say more than happy with this side of the matchup, being the stable side with the Darius, knowing you can come into the team fight and allow your teammates to do the bulk of the heavy lifting. If Divine do not manage to pull out a win here with this, I would say basically God comp for them, then I would say they're really out of options and they deserve to drop to the lower bracket to reassess things. I really like the drop from Divine. It's gonna allow Len to excel, and I love it when Coyote's on picks that can enable his teammates.
No Lee Sin, no problem. Give lane
Yeah.
to Kha'Zix. Instead, he's still gonna make things happen. And I think, like Rafa mentioned, he's one of those junglers that we were looking towards.
Exactly.
In this entire competition, he's been aggressive. He's been a playmaker. In the previous 2 matches, hasn't quite been on form. Maybe this time around, things have switched around. We're starting to see some aggression come across this time. We don't see the Zyra Khan. Instead, we see the Gragas come across instead.
A bit of an ambitious gank attempt here, but Coyote, he just dodges out on the charm, and he's gonna be A-okay. And yeah, like you mentioned, right, I don't think he's gonna be worried at all, boy. But you know who should be worried? Tanex is about to get dived, and this is what we love to see from G4. Push and roam, push and roam. What are we seeing right now?
Push and roam. Here we have it. EVOS Esports, the first to make a move in the top side. Tanex faces off against a double ignite.
I love
Still
that.
drops.
Did you
And we'll
notice
go
what
down to
G4
VODs.
did? He pulled turret aggro immediately with an ignite. He says, I'm gonna reset right now, right? My team needs a tempo, they need to shove the wave, VODs needs to grab camps, I need to reset. So I'm gonna come in, I'm not gonna even AA him, I'm gonna drop ignite, get turret aggro, walk to the edge. I do not need to throw a single spell. I just need to tank the 2 turret hits from my teammates, and he lets them pick up the kills there. That is, you know, that is the veteran. That is what an experienced players knows how to do. It's really amazing. I'm quite blown away. It's such a subtle thing, but G4 showing his presence of mind. As Divine, they want to trade on the bot side.
But it's not a great trade for them to
not.
take because Coyote's dropping down
Or
low
it is.
quick. The rest of Divine Esports are here as the backup, trying to give some safety, but VODs walks in, looks to get
VODs.
a catch back on the Coyote. Unfortunately, the Lee Sin will be the first to fall as he jump back in, but a charm comes across, and concussive blows the stun onto Quay. Might take down the Gragas, but he flashes away the safety.
Gets out of dodge, and Divine, they trade things back around. VODs, he's a bit of an angry man right now. He was smashing, stomping in the last game. I think it might have gone to his head a little bit there. Goes in too aggressively to try to find Coyote, misses the Q and still tries to chase it. That allows them to turn around on him. And when we look at the mid-jungle combos right now on both of these teams, Gaminism, what does it tell you? It's a one-shot waiting to happen. Galio's gonna CC you, Kha'Zix is gonna ISO one-shot you, Ari's gonna charm you, Lee Sin's gonna Q, kick, Q, gonna one-shot you. These combos are so dangerous to be playing around, and you really have to be so careful if you want to play with fire.
And we've seen what happens right around this mark as well, Omo. Teams start to get some control around the 2 neutral objectives. The winner of the fight around the Dragon Pit gets Dragon, gets the first turret, and then the loser is relegated to grabbing the Rift turret and finding the trade on the other side of the map.
And you know what's crazy to me? Throughout the entire group stages, we kind of determined that Rift Herald was the better first objective. I think both of these teams, they are turning around. They're going on the other page, just saying, you know what? We've kind of figured it out. If you guys go for Rift Herald, during that timing window, we're able to grab more on the other side of the map. And this comes back to both of these teams wanting to contest Dragon. I would like to see an adaptation where if you don't set up in time, woof, the damage from the Cocky. Yeah, but where if you don't set up in time, you rush Herald and you try to trade for 2 or more if they go for Dragon.
Absolutely, and EVOS Esports, like you mentioned, the first to make the moves towards the Dragon seems like Divine and not gonna heed your advice here, Omo. They're actually gonna play towards the Dragon side as well, try and contest this directly, while a little bit far away. You can see Hope 1 had to make a full recall, full reset to come back in time.
And here we go, EVOS, they are in position now. We talked about how in the last couple of games, the pick comps
the
was in
resets.
favor of Divine. This time around, the pick tools, they are all in the pocket of EVOS. You're gonna walk into a Charm, you're gonna walk into a Winter's Bite, and Lee Sin's gonna be kicking you so hard.
Can they take down Rich? Though Glacier Fisher comes across. That's the package,
Nice.
the power of the Corki unleashed. And Divine Esports,
turn it.
Coyote might jump in. He might be able to take down Rich as Len comes in for the cleanup.
Hits the
But like
charm.
you mentioned, the charms are too powerful for them to deal with. Flash roll from G4 onto the Kha'Zix, taking down the jungler. Coyote flashes away back towards the turret.
coming.
And
They're
EVOS
gonna dive this.
Esports get control as Tipper comes in with the flank with the dominance
love this.
on charge. Watch out, because this is the EVOS Esports we were looking for.
This is the mid-jungle synergy, this is the mid-top synergy, they're diving in.
And the taunt comes across, but it won't save them. Tipper still
Oh,
looking to
no!
take down a second. Back on the Hope, 1 flash roll from VODs, 1 last auto attack takes down the AD carry.
They botched
but
it!
double kill comes across from Quay.
They botched the dive, and it comes down to Coyote. What did I say? I love it when he's on the enablers. I love it when he sets his teammates up for success. Comes in, multi-man taunt, stops the dive, and this is Divine. They turn things around. They get the kills. 3 for 2. They get the Dragon 2K gold lead. Divine Esports. this might be the beginning of something here. I don't want to say anything and curse it, Grandin, but you know what I'm thinking.
Well, Omo, I love it when you give me these rhetorical questions because I truly cannot answer them. So thank you once again for that. Again, now it looks like EVOS Esports is giving a rhetorical question to EVOS. Says, can you take us down? And the winner of that fight grabs the dragon. And now it's back over to EVOS to maybe try and go for the Rift Herald. But look at the map state right now.
Look at Coyote. Keep in mind, this is a 2v4 here. He started off Chunks, Ketsutan, and G4 to a sliver of health. And it comes in, taunts Tipper is the big one. So that Tipper can't get the optimal combo down. And he forces them to really just take such a bad trade. It starts with Coyote chunking them out. It ends with Coyote crowd controlling them. And I love it when this man takes charge.
And when we've talked about the just before, he's mentioned it's so easy to play a Kha'Zix that's ahead. They now have the Rift Herald. He has this Dust Blade. It's a great spot for them to be in. A different place from what we've seen in the past 2 games.
That's my favorite part of Kai'Sa's entire kit. Just stopping recalls.
Oh my goodness. You're one of those people, Omo.
It's actually crazy how big the impact is if you delay someone's tempo. Like, I know everyone's always like memeing about it, but it's actually so impactful if you stop it at the right times. And this is one of those right times.
Pulls the Rift Herald early. The Dragon's Rage comes across by onto Quay. Not the best target it could possibly gone onto. The Charm comes onto the Dragons as well. Unfortunately, that's where Stop X comes in. Bit of a disconnect, but either way, Divine Esports find the Herald charge in the mid lane.
Yeah, I don't think this is quite matching up to the Gragas that we saw from Rich. That man was on fire, constantly knocking them into his turret every single time. But as a Gragas connoisseur, I think Rich, he knows the counters, he knows the answers as well. Braum is a decent answer in lane because he can never body slam into you. And you know what he does outside of lane? In the team fights, if you ever try to fish with a cask, he is there, stand behind Braum. He's going to block your cask. He's going to keep his teammates safe. And that's exactly what Rich has been doing this game.
I feel like at this point, we need to create an entire list of things almost asked Grandin, and I just don't ever answer them, right?
It's like a question list, because at the end of the whole C's champs,
I get quiz?
I'm going to give you a quiz, yeah.
Oh, no.
If you can't answer the quiz,
terrible.
I'm going to be very disappointed, Gaminism.
Well, EVOS Esports are now starting to have to answer Divine Esports' aggression. They're getting some control around the map. And we discussed in the first game, Divine Esports had to identify the 1-3-1 win conditions. What's changed here? What's is game 3 looking like for Divine?
Well,
Absolutely.
Divine, this time it's much easier. You have a good 5-5 team comp. You have the ability to make picks in jungle, make picks in side lane. You do want to play side lanes, but your goal is not to break turrets. Your goal is to find the vulnerable person who comes to catch the side lane wave, and suddenly Kha'Zix is on him, Galio's on him, Kai'Sa's flying in. That's what you want to do here with Divine's team comp. It's a lot easier to play. It requires much less finesse, and I think they are in a much better spot this game. Well, I say that, but they are a bit down in gold, but still better than where they were in the last game.
Most of the gold difference is on Tipper right now. He's become a very powerful Renekton, but you can see it from a lot of these fights. Tipper has had a tough time getting into them. Hopefully the Rocket Belt will mitigate some of that issue, but it does seem like EVOS is facing against a difficult composition to really dive into with the amount of crowd control that they're facing.
That's definitely true. It's never going to be easy to dive into this sort of team composition, but what you want to keep in mind is why Renekton answers Divine's team composition so well. Renekton as a champion is more than happy to take 1v2s. I think if you ask any Baron laner, if they come and gank you, what champion do you want to be playing? And they're gonna say Renekton. You have the potential to get out, you have the potential to even try to turn things around with massive amounts of burst, sustain, just overall damage. But we're gonna have to hold that thought here because we're gonna set up once again. It's dragon time.
Watch out for G4. He's coming in from the other side. Might be able to flank off Divine Esports. They're starting off the Dragon first. They have land, so it should go down quickly. Dragon's gonna go over to Divine Esports. If EVOS Esports don't do anything, there we have it. But they go in anyway. Coyote gets the jump back onto the Renekton. Tipper is down. The flash won't save him. Land tries to jump back in. Unfortunately, gets kicked away by the Dragon's Rage. But Divine Esports find the pickoff.
Gaminism, this is a Baron angle. If they break this turret, oh, it's so good by Rich though. He stuns all of them.
Beautiful Glacial Fissure blocks Divine, and now they can't go for the Baron. It's close though. Look at what's happening here.
They want to get the top lane turret. They want to get the mid lane turret. They don't need to flip the game. I might have been a bit too assumptuous. I don't know, presumptuous. It's assuming they might have gone for the Baron, but they are making it safe. They are making sure they get the map open a little bit. Get the outer turrets down in the top and mid lane, and when you go for the Baron, they have very little ways to stop you. They have no safety to check you. and this is exactly what Divine are doing. If this map opens up, it's gonna be huge for Divine because their team composition relies on making picks with this Kha'Zix.
EVOS Esports do recognize that the Baron isn't started up, but it's going to be a little bit late on the return back to the Baron lane to try to block these waves from crashing in. Divine get to make a full reset, and that's huge. These windows, these timings, I mean, you talked about the Kai'Sa being able to stop your recalls. Well, Divine managed to recall and come back looking stronger. Now 2 items completed for Len.
A little bit of a gold lead here for Divine, and like you mentioned, right, most of the gold on EVOS is in the pockets of Tipper. Some of it is in Katsutan, and I think that he's gonna be a pretty happy Corki this game. When we talk about why Corki suffers in the meta, why is that so? Because he needs to run into long range champions, and they're just gonna poke him out before he can even DPS. This time around, they want to come into him. They're all close ranged. If he doesn't get chain CC'd here, Katsutan might be the pop-off condition for the side of EVOS. Because if you dive into Renekton, you dive into Corki, their DPS might just end you.
But we've also talked a little bit about the criticisms for Corki in a lot of these games. I mean, do you feel like this is going to change for them? Well, Quay might be looking to try and jump in. Len's coming in right now to get the body slam knocked back onto Rich, but is on the bronze, so difficult to take him down. Divine Esports just going to take that and get out. Tipper now rotating over. It's a 5 versus 5 towards the jungle side. EVOS Esports look to commit for this. Len jumps back on, forces the Spirit Rush away from the Ahri. G4 won't have that ultimate.
Yeah, G4, no ultimate means he's not feeling safe to wave clear. Rich is low, G4's about half. They lose the mid lane turret. Top lane turret's already down. Look at where Divine are going on the map. This could be them pulling the trigger right now. They do it so fast. Kai'Sa Kha'Zix.
You have Len, you have hope. It's just so fast to take down the Baron. Divine Esports
Love
looking
it.
for
They
this.
got it.
EVO's taking so long to rotate over, but they
Quay's
are
zoning.
moving in time. Quay is gonna zone them out, but he cannot block.
Oh, no.
Valdez is jumping over the wall.
Oh,
He
this
comes
could be
in with
bad.
Sonic Wave. Might be looking to try and jump
Finish.
onto this. It's just down to 1,000.
No,
Dragon
we
Break
got
comes
it.
across. He flashes in for the steal. EVOS Esports take away the Baron, and now it's a return fight. Coyote tries to come back in. Tipper now joins in. Tarnex has to walk away, backs off away from the Renekton.
Valdez, he pulled out a miracle. I have nothing else I can say. There is no universe in which he should have gotten into the Baron pit. Quay was zoning, but G4 made space. He pushed the Gragas away, and there was a bit of a desync. That was what caused Divine the Baron. Look at this right now, okay? When Quay goes to stop Valdez, this is your timing window. You need to call. Spike it right now. But they stalled. They didn't recognize the timing. They weren't on the same page, and that gives Valdez the time, the space, the kick, the flash, the smite. He gets the Baron, and EVOS, all of a sudden, they're back in it.
Absolute insanity here, Omo. And now the Dragon's coming up as well. They have lane control, they have better presence, and where Tipper was starting to lose some of his presence is now entirely back online. EVOS are gonna get control again.
The problem that we saw in the last couple of fights from Tipper was that he was too squishy. He's not gonna be in the side lane.
They're looking for Tarnex now, trying to take down the Darius early before the Dragon comes available. Len's gonna be right there, blocking off EVOS Esports.
This
They're
should
gonna go on to the
be.
Dragon first.
This should be the Dragon for EVOS. I don't think Divine can contest this. You know, I say that, but they love to take these fights though. So they might still want to come back in for it.
But what this does mean is going to be Elder Inferno, the next one on the board. So EVOS definitely want to take this, because if they don't, it's going to be so much more difficult to fight this.
I'm actually a little bit curious about why EVOS are giving this. Okay, they're calling to rush from it here. They recognize Dragon is not our wing.
Tarnex has managed to recall and reset in time. Quay's over by the side, but they're not willing to pull the trigger. They aren't willing to jump in just yet, and so it's so difficult for them to find more. Quay's just zoning them all away.
And they all just have to back off. Like you mentioned, Quay zoned them all away, kept them at bay, didn't let them touch the turrets because the threat of the engage from the Kha'Zix, from the Galio, it's just too big. And EVOS, I like the call. They called to give it, rush with Baron, but they weren't able to find anything. And now Divine, they withstood the onslaught. There's no longer a single Baron buff left on the side of EVOS. It's timed out. Now Divine, I think they're back in the driver's seat. Like you mentioned, Elder Inferno, 3 dragons in their pocket. Divine, if this game goes on for another 5 minutes, they pick up the dragon, they pick up the Baron. Barring some other miracle stills from Valdez, I don't think they have a way into this one.
Let's see if they can make something happen. I mean, they still have a pretty good entry back into the game. The goal difference isn't all that substantial, but we are seeing Hopeline come online as this Kai'Sa. We know what happens when these AD carries get so fed in the late game. It's something for them to watch out for, and well, Corki just doesn't match up to the level of power once we go into the late game.
Well, there are two sides to the coin, right? Corki can definitely do a lot of damage as well, but he is much harder to, you know, get away from these team fights from. He has the Valkyrie, and that's gonna be his main escape tool. But Kai'Sa is just so slippery in these team fights. She has the killer instinct, she has the ability to run faster, go invisible. She really does it all. It's like Spider-Man going up against, I don't know, what do you call Cocky? A Yordle in a plane. He can't really do much when you get on top of him. The problem is he's itemizing very, very well here. He has the Negatron Cloak, so he's not gonna get poked out by Coyote, and he has the Zhonya's, so he's not gonna get one-shot by Lan and Coyote as well.
I love that analogy. Almost, can I get more analogies from you?
It's Spider-Man against a Yordle in a helicopter. He really can't do anything. The gap is just too big.
We have to watch out. Felder's gonna dash in, and the Fight Esports, they were unsure, well, what happened there. Why would you want to jump in there?
No!
Wade's gonna come in, misses out the explosive catch, gonna be difficult. Apprehend misses as well. The Gallagher's gonna come in, drawn into the fight to get a 3-man knock up over to the back. EVOS Esports having a difficult time taking down Coyote, but difficult will not mean impossible because they still find the Gallagher, take him down and jumping onto Len instead. And Divine have lost the massive fight right as Baron was up.
And they make a mistake on the engage. Quay, he tries to predict the jump from the Braum, but he doesn't quite get the timing. I love what we're seeing from EVOS. They recognize they need only 2 members to do this Baron, so they're making sure that no one can enter the river. G4, Rich, they are all zoning on this, but HP bars are so low. GA popped.
Walking over, they popped the Guardian Angel from Valdez, the flash away from Rich to get back to the
Quay,
pit,
stop
trying to take down the Corky first. But oh my goodness, Lan jumps into 4. He takes down Katzin, but is that gonna be enough?
It's enough. They don't need to win the fight, they just need to stop the Baron, and they did exactly that. It's a bit unfortunate that they were even in this situation to begin with. It started off with a poorly set up team fight. Hope he got jumped on as well. This is exactly what happens, right? Spider-Man cannot escape when Renekton flashes on you and then Power stuns you. There's nothing much you can really do in that situation. Whether your name is Hope One, whether your name is Peter Parker, it won't really happen. But the problem is right now, when we look at the Elder Inferno spot, I don't think flashes are gonna be up. Hope, he still has his flash, he still has his killer instinct. So this is his opportunity to pop off. 20 seconds on the Elder.
Can we just get an Omo x Marvel crossover? Can you just
love that.
create the entire storyline for us? Seeing some incredible things from you here, Omo. EVOS Esports now, they have to watch out for this Elder Inferno. I mean, this is the dragon that is going to define Divine Esports win condition because EVOS has given 3 dragons away. This is all so much more critical for them.
This is huge. If they get this dragon, this is basically a win in the bags for EVOS. I know I say basically a win, but we've seen them throw these games before, so we have to be very careful about how we approach this one. I'm not sure if package is available for Katsatan. I don't think he has that on him. I'm trying to deduce that from what we see of Cocky. Don't believe he has package, so he needs to be a bit more careful right now. He does have flash though. Oh no,
Still walking on his feet. They're jumping onto Quay first. Coyote's gonna body block, stop Rich from getting on them. But a lot of damage onto the dragons right away.
He has the base. That's not a good situation to be in.
They're moving on to the mid lane instead. Maybe round 2, round 3, something for EVOS Esports to finally take that one down. But it's difficult for them. They haven't been able to break open these turrets.
Yo, the rocket damages is starting to add up. The damage from Katsatan as he lobs these big ones on the head of Divine Esports, it's starting to be scary. And river control now for EVOS. You have to be careful of this.
Len has to jump away.
Oh, here we go.
Comes in with the explosive
No
cast,
safeguard.
away and pushes Valdez away. He doesn't have the Guardian.
He got the
Angel.
reset.
Roll down. It's Tanac that
got the
comes in with the reset. Coyote jumps to the back line. They try to get the concussive blows. The stun up. The Darius taking one down. Tipper now joins back in. Koi gonna face off against Katsatan.
Look at Katsatan.
Bomb comes across. He goes golden and still has the damage. He still has that E going off, firing back. And EVOS Esports have taken down 2.
That was a flawless team fight from Katsatan. We're gonna need to see a replay of that one because that man showed why if you get to the late game with Cocky, he is still one of the hyper carries. Nice flash
charm. Flashing in with the charm. They get Len, but will be able to jump away instead. Divine Esports barely get out.
And all of that just for a tier 1 turret. Now pay attention to Katsatan and pay attention to Tanax. The fight starts, they get the reset on the Lee Sin. Now that's huge. Now Tanax, he made a misplay here. He flashed in the wrong direction. But look at Katsatan, he's chucking out damage. He's getting multi-man rockets, multi-man phosphorus bombs. And this is the key right now. Look at how he uses the Zhonya's. He runs in, uses all his spells, Zhonya's in front of 3 members while his E is still ticking on them. And he just blows up the Vine. We need to look at his damage numbers at the end of this one, Gaminism.
Absolutely. I mean, the damage numbers surely must be off the charts at this point. EVOS Esports, I mean, they're walking back towards the dragon now because Divine tried to start it up, but was zoned away Well, things are becoming much more tense here. EVOS one step away and just need one more game to confirm their run in the upper bracket as Divine. They don't want to fall so early on. Here we have it, the engage coming through from Quay. They might be able to find the damage, maybe take this one down, but it's difficult. Glacial Fissure comes across. Coyote coming in with a massive ultimate. It's the hero's entrance, but Len will not be able to find much more in this process. Veldis, his Guardian Angel is going to be prompt. They finally take down the Renekton, and EVOS Esports forced to back off.
EVOS forced to back off, and this means that the Elder Infernal Dragon is in the sights of Divine. Len is high health, Hope is a bit low, but he has the fruits, he has the GA. I don't know what EVOS want to do right now. Do they want to try to race? Because I don't think you win out on that.
They don't know what they want to do either. Look at this. Elder Inferno
They can't decide. It's
quickly.
gone.
It's down to 5,000. It's going to be gone so quickly. Valda's trying to walk back in, but he's on
Look
top
at
of the
Quay.
board. He has no idea what direction he has to go in from. They might be able to take down Quay. They might be able to take down Todd X. The answer is neither will fall.
No.
As Len is chasing after the kill. It goes over the Hope one instead. Coyote comes into the two-man taunt. Puts the brakes onto G4 with the flash ball coming through for Hope one. The late game Kai'Sa. The insurance plan for Divine Esports is massive. It's a quadra kill for Hope.
And do you believe, Gaminism? Divine, they faltered at several windows, but they find the win at the end of this one. A clean ace, not losing a single member. EVOS Esports, they are a match point, but could this be the beginning of something here?
Too late for Tipper to get anything done, so they go on to the next. It's the return 2-1. Back for Divine.
Now, I don't want to say any specific terms that starts with an R, you know, I don't really...
Very perfect formula to slow down EVOS' aggression. Now, I'm curious to see what Divine is going to go forward to, going to do this time around, because there were two routes to let go of Len's Lee Sin and basically branch out into two options, which we saw the Kha'Zix getting picked up or opening up the Olaf for yourselves, pick up the Jarvan for Coyote, and possibly if they don't ban the Olaf in this draft, we could possibly see this in this game. Never mind. They took it away. I mean, they took it away.
Arrived, Riku. Bow down to the Viking King.
I love how we like all paused and we were like, because we knew it was coming and we just wanted to see, but yes, I believe
Jarvan.
we are getting that. Rafa, what do you think? How's this gonna go down now that we have the Viking King?
Well, so Divine have just locked in Ahri for Coyote, so if a Jarvan comes in, it would have to be for Tonnex in the Baron lane, or for Len in the jungle, because Agragas is being picked for Quay once again. I don't imagine, though, that Len would want to take a Jarvan, because we know that Len is best when he is on a jungler that you can put a lot of resources in, that he can be a primary source of damage, or at least a primary source of disruption in the backline and threatening the likes of Cat Satan. Now, this pivot, though, from EVOS, I know Riku was mentioning off the broadcast that it was so strange that EVOS let the Kai'Sa go over to Hope and took the Corki instead, because it's normally Cat Satan that plays the Kai'Sa. Now that it's on EVOS' side, this is going to put Divine towards the back burner of where they go for marksman, and it looks like Lucian's going to be the answer.
Yeah, Lucian Nami can be a potential option here. That means very strong early to mid game, and basically having a lot of poke, a lot of damage versus the dual lane. And I think the biggest question is usually when you know that you're on a Kai'Sa, will you unlock the lane swap here? I mean, it is, we've seen that being done before, especially you know that you're going to immediately lose the 2v2 when it comes to the poke. But look at G4 now gonna pick up this Twisted Fate, which we haven't seen throughout the entirety of the series. So I'm expecting, again, these level 5 destinies to impact the side lanes later on.
But this is a classic for G4 if you've been seeing him since the C Icon Championship in the summer. Now, I know you were calling for Lucian Nami, but they're sending the Gragas instead. They're making sure that Quay still has access to the disruption and the disengage options, as well as the engage options that the Gragas can get. Len going for the Kha'Zix one more time. Unfortunately, we're not seeing the Jarvan soft counter to just Cataclysm the Olaf, prevent Valdez from being able to do anything once he doesn't have Flash. But this time around, Divine Esports are opting into a slight scaling composition, but this time Cat Satan has the better option in the Kai'Sa, because the further the game goes, the more deadly Kai'Sa can become, as especially paired alongside a composition that just wants to go forward, and everyone on this team does. Twisted Fate can set up for Kai'Sa to snowball through the Dragon lane, or you can even play towards setting up Valdez, because he wants to invade, he wants to play around objectives, and even through all the crowd control that Divine have, you can't do anything against an Olaf once he just presses Ragnarok.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, that's why we're kind of like all waiting for the Olaf if he
Yes.
wasn't gonna get banned. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. Right now, from the drafts, it seems like it could be either team's game at this point. And, you know, we know, of course, that EVOS Esports, they are on point today. They have come out swinging indeed. But Divine Esports right now, they are waking up. So it's going to be interesting to see indeed if EVOS Esports is going to close this out, or if Divine Esports is going to make this reverse sweep, this comeback, and take this series. Really interested to see what is going to happen next as we step into game number 4. And Divine Esports, again, this is gonna be sort of like, I know it's difficult because they're teetering right now because they need to win this or give the series over to G4, well, G4 and the rest of EVOS Esports, of course. But yes, we are getting into game number 4 between EVOS Esports and Divine Esports. Casters, over to you guys.
Oh my goodness, Omo, that's it. G4 is for game 4 because EVOS Esports are giving Divine Esports one last chance to take away a game before EVOS closes it out to try and win out this series. And we're starting things off with a very interesting one. VODs back on this Olaf.
Yeah, Velda's back on this Olaf, G4 back on this Twisted Fate. That is a very classic EVOS combo. And what do we always talk about? Why did EVOS have so much success in the summer split? Because everywhere Valdez goes, G4 would go to. He would be potting on top of hits together with his jungler and making sure that he has all the space in the world to take control of the game. And that's something which he is really going to need to be doing here, because this Olaf Kha'Zix matchup is a very volatile one. So mid lane intervention gonna be so important. Using the level 2.
Len's gonna go back on
Nice.
that Kha'Zix as a bit of a trade happens in the mid lane. Coyote has to flash over the wall, and what a stun from
Brilliant.
this all-star mid laner.
Yeah, brilliant stuff here. He punishes Coyote's attempts to go in and get control of the jungle, because Coyote, this is how the process normally goes. You get your side laners to come help you push, you get control of the lane, you go to use that to get control of the jungle. Tipper? Okay.
Might have to flash away, and he does. But that gets out to safety,
Yeah.
and will grab his honey fruit as well. I mean, both sides just gonna trade equally, but Tipper's gonna have to recall early.
This has been happening every single game, by the way. These guys have just been trading summoners at level 1, at level 2. The moment they hit level 2, they come in for the fight. Huge blood buff there in the top lane, but this time, Tan X comes out a little bit on top of Tipper. And yeah, really great stuff from G4. If we call back to that, blowing Coyote's flash early means he's so vulnerable till he gets the Spirit Rush at level 5. So that's something we need to look out for. Mid lane control going over to EVOS.
Scuttle Crab's being traded as well. EVOS Esports gets the bottom side. Len from Divine gets the top half.
Yep.
And we can kind of see this as a result of the lanes that we've been having as well. You know, just being finding pressure towards opposite sides of the map means the Scuttle Crabs get traded as well. Let's talk a little bit about Quay back on his Gragas, because he was so impactful on it in the first 2 matches.
Yep.
Now he gets to make a repeat.
Well, he doesn't get the Gragas on Rich this time, right? Rich is not the one that gets the Gragas, and he's been a key playmaker for the side of EVOS. So maybe him being on Braum is actually hurting them, because his playmaking ability is no longer there. His ability to be aggressive with roams is heavily impacted. I wouldn't say that it's non-existent, it's just much weaker. And we might see a dive onto Tipper.
Oh, Len jumps over the
No!
wall, comes across the last little attack, flashes, and he won't be able to take down Tipper.
So very close, but yet again, Tipper survives a dive attempt. This is gonna give Valdez all the space in the world to really get some control, get some farm for himself. Looks like he's just gonna make his way up, eat the Baron lane farm. They want Tan X.
They're onto Tan X, they're onto the Renekton, and Golkon comes across, and Valdez anywhere this Olaf goes, G4 is sure to follow.
Exactly. And Oracle. In this
Oh,
case,
no.
who would be the little lamb?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm gonna say G4 here.
Yeah, so Valdez, Mary
I'm
has a
sorry, I
little
might
lamb.
have to cut
G4.
you off because they're
Go
gonna
ahead.
dive the bot side. Coyote comes in, the charm misses out.
Oh, he's
Rich
taking
gonna
turret
walk back
shots.
towards the turret, forces them away. Coyote dropping
Coyote?
down low quickly. The turret comes back in one more time, and Katzen might be able to find something here to finally take down
is not
the
it.
Braum, but you still have to face off against the Kaiser. Valdez jumping in now, finds the first undertow, they find the first kill, going back onto the Braum, onto the Gragas in
could've
fact,
killed
and
him.
moving on to Hope 1 as a second perhaps.
What did Valdez
And
back?
Divine Esports barely get out.
Very curious stuff there from both of these teams. Coyote way over diving, takes 2 turret shots, tries to go back in, takes a 3rd turret shot. Now he wants to be a bit more sneaky yet again. Barrier still available for Katsatan. Oh boy.
Yeah, you have to watch out for the barrier. That might be the bait comes across. The Ignite
Oh,
coming in
boy.
as well. But Katzen go down. And Divine finds something to bot side again.
Fine, they do, but Tipper, they want to dive him.
Dominus comes across. They might be able to take down the Darius before he can get anything done. Has to flash away. The Renekton losing a lot of health. Len's gonna drop low as well.
Quay is here.
Quay now jumping back up the top end, and there's nobody else to provide backup
Oh,
for the
no.
Darius. So Tipper needs to give up this turret.
Solo Bolo? Not Solo Bolo. G4 and Rich, they take down Coyote, but the top turret is gonna fall across the board. It's blood everywhere. These teams, they are trading blow for blow. No one wants to let anything go, but Divine, they come out a bit on top, lose 1 kill, but get the turret. Dragon for EVOS, they want to trade the bot lane, but this is gonna be Herald, and you know what that means? That means you get mid control, most likely, with the Herald.
Trying to maybe make use of this, and it's so impactful, especially because they have the Ahri, which makes things so much easier. G4 is going to have the wave clear as the TF though, but then once you use that, it's a lot more difficult to use his gold card as well. You know, you only really get to use either or. You don't get to have both benefits of wave clear and pick potential.
Yeah, no way you get your kick and you get to eat it too. So G4, what I think he likely wants to do, and what you guys at home should be doing if you're here on this Twist of Fate, is, well, we'll have to see what he does right now.
Destiny comes across the gate used as well. The gold card primed, locked, and loaded. Unfortunately, Divine Esports backed away in time.
Yeah, so that's exactly what you want to be doing, right? You don't actually need to red card the wave for wave clear. What you need to do as TF, and this is why you need to play on a knife's edge. You hold the gold card, you throw the wild cards, and you walk at them menacingly. And you need to have the cojones to really just stare them down and say, I'm not gonna back away. If you walk up and touch my turret, I'm gonna stun card you. And that's the kind of thing that you need to do as this Twist of Fate, which is why you really need to be very on the ball with how you're playing it mechanically and how you're positioning your character. That's the way you approach it, and G4 does exactly that. Pops Destiny Gate, runs at Divine, forces them away.
Quay could be there to punish as well though, so that's something that you need to watch out for. If G4 is going to snap so aggressively against them, he needs to be careful of the explosive cast that could potentially come across. Now we look towards the bottom end,
going on
as
here?
well as the mid side, because plays are happening all around the map. G4 gets caught out with the gold card in hand, but won't be able to use it in time. They come now with the undertow, with the ultimates, with everything tossed at Divine Esports, but they get away either way.
Yeah, and that's a bit too aggressive there from G4. We talked about how he needs to walk at Divine. He walked in a bit too deep, and we might see a turn.
Yeah, Charm comes across now. Rich is still so tanky. Damage coming across on the Coyote as the Reckless Things will take him down. Tipper, totally unnecessary there.
Tipper just strolls in to give some moral support to the rest of EVOS Esports. It's gonna be a 1,000 gold lead, and a lot of that is in the pockets of Veldis. Our little Mary here. The little lamb unfortunately did run it down a bit, but Veldis, Mary still has, you know, the game in his pocket. He still has full control. And what are we gonna start seeing right now, Gamenism? We're gonna start seeing the split push come into effect. Now, TF, he always has to be careful of Kha'Zix jumping on him in the side lane, but he's always gonna be able to just push and move. And with the prio that he gets, you have to be so very careful here as Divine.
I'm quite impressed by what Len has been able to do. He's been able to keep up with Veldis despite the fact that he's 2 kills and 1 assist down. That just shows how well Len has been able to farm throughout this game. But at the same time, it shows Veldis has been able to apply a lot of pressure across the map. Now look towards Coyote because he's got the Spirit Rush, but still gonna go down. It's Veldis that once again comes up with the kill. Now Destiny and Gate gonna be using, trying to pull the stun card out, blocking and taking down Quay. The last final auto attack will find is Cassian with the kill confirmed. As the dash away from Hope 1, the 4 of EVOS Esports towards the top side.
And I love to see this from EVOS. When they looked their best, when they won the Summer Cup, it was off the back of these combos. Jungle mid, jungle mid. We always talk about the duo from EVOS, and they are performing here. G4 in Game 4, he is popping off. He is everywhere that Veldis goes, and they are just working so well in tandem. I want to call your attention back to I think it was Game 1 or Game 2, when it was the same matchup. I think it was Game 2. Coyote was playing Ahri, Valdez, he was playing Fiora, and he still managed to chase him down, kill him under his tier 1 turret. That's exactly what happened this game as well. Valdez is just doing so much work.
Whoa, what is happening,
aggressive.
Tipper? He doesn't care that there's 3 people there. He's just going in. Veldis comes in with the right to rock as well. Looking to maybe take down Quay. All that, it doesn't really matter. They find the first one. It's the Kha'Zix gone. And the second, the reset available for Tipper. EVOS Esports controlling this game, Omo.
They saw Coyote. They want him. He has Spirit Rush.
They're chasing after, the charm comes in, but the gold card is there.
Nowhere
And they
to
get
run.
the lockdown back on the Coyote. A little bit more damage is all they need. Dash after dash and rocket belt to boot. Divine get away, but the dragon will fall.
Dragon falls, the second one of the game, going over to EVOS Esports. Tanax, he tried to do what he could on the other side of the map, but it's not gonna be enough. And that's the scary thing right now. You have the spells, but you can't even fight the Darius because you don't know if he has backup. And you bet he does. EVOS, they're playing so well around the map right now. They are always playing together. They're always ready to support each other. And Veldis, how are you doing this?
Veldis has been throughout this game. Len, he can't decide if he wants to go in or not. Chasing after the kill, there we
go
have
in
it.
because
Destiny
of
comes
Destiny
across
Gate.
G4, maybe kind of trying to provide some assistance. It's so tough for Len.
Goodness. This is a heartbreaker here, and what do we talk about, right? This is a very volatile jungle matchup, which means it comes down to the mid laners to impact the game. And who's impacting the game? Who is performing? Who is popping off? It's none other than G4. This man, he has had an amazing performance here today, and this game 4 is no different.
And Tipper is becoming quite a raid boss himself. He's been able to play aggressively in the face of 2 people, in the face of 3 people. Because of how tanky he's become,
so hard to kill.
he's able to survive against them long enough for G4 or Veldis to join to the fight.
Exactly, and that's something that EVOS have been doing so well as well. Tippo is able to play so confidently because the members of EVOS, they're rotating so well around the map. Veldis doesn't know he's on the ward, but I want to pay attention to what he's doing on the side lanes. And this is an EVOS special. They will often send Valdez to be the side laner. He's one of the largest carries. He's one of the best carries in the whole tournament out of the jungle row, and they funnel him to farm.
Watch out for Ridge. There we have it. Rocket
Oh,
Belt,
no.
gold card available as they take down the first. It's Hope. One dead. Illusion is gone. Watch out for the undertows. It's swinging from Veldis. He has your number. Chasing after Divine Esports to come with the upper head to take down the Ari Coyote, the next to fall. And the face of EVOS Esports, your summer champions here to play.
They are here to play indeed, Grandin. Their eyes are on the Baron right now. They have the Kaiser, they have the Olaf. Len is still alive, but he's a level down. And look at where G4 is. He is not letting Len anywhere close to this pit.
No more plays, no more miracles, none available for Divine Esports because here we have it. EVOS grab the first Baron and come in with the
Has
gold
the
card,
gate.
maybe try to take down one more.
They want Tipper.
Quay
I mean,
will
they want Tan.
survive. Instead, they go to the mid lane instead. But flashing forward with the gold card. Have you seen an aggressive TF like this before? Not on
Look at
anybody
Veldis.
except G4. Look at Veldis. He doesn't care about anything or anyone. Just chases in between 2 turrets.
And I love this side of EVOS. These are your summer champions. They had an underwhelming performance in groups. They came out as the 3rd seed. Divine, they were the 1st seed. But now these teams, when they're facing off in the playoffs, EVOS, they have turned it on. They are on the next level. Some might even say, you know, they are looking in championship form yet again.
And EVOS Esports, I mean, the 3rd game was a little bit concerning. Divine pulls up with an incredible composition, but now as we go back into one that is quite even, it feels like EVOS Esports has just been able to play better than Divine Esports and showcasing us just why they were able to convincingly take the first 2 games.
Definitely. I mean, okay, game 1 might not have been
Game
convincing.
1 was a little bit, I was thinking about that again, right?
Game 2 was definitely convincing, and here in Game 4, this is a dominant performance from EVOS. I love the setup that they're doing. Funnel Veldis, the farm, he will 1v1 anybody. If you have a player like Veldis on your team, you give him everything, and he will carry. Trusted him to carry, and now Tanax in trouble.
Yeah, you have to watch out for this Renekton. He's gonna go golden, try and survive, but the upper hand is available right on time, right on cue. Divine Esports try to defend here. Gold card locked and loaded a second time coming, trying to go on to Quay here, but they're just gonna take the turret first. EVOS Esports have the dragon in eyes as well.
And EVOS, they are getting everything. Turrets, Barons, kills, dragons, the whole map belongs to EVOS. They run the game 12-3. They have more than a 10,000 gold. They're gonna get the Fire Dragon. It's an Ocean Elder as well. It looks like this game, this series is in the bags for EVOS. And do you know what that means? Not to write them off so early, but if EVOS win this, they go on for a rematch of the Thai Icon series up against Buriram.
And perhaps we get to see that outcome happen. I mean, this feels like a moment where I get to say, I just claimed game number 4. Thank you, Wild Rift Esports for EVOS.
Very much the case here. And I want to point out as well, if EVOS win this, if they go on to face Buriram, that would mean that they would have to take down Group A's #1 seed and Group B's #1 seed to get to the finals. This means that they would be favorites for the whole thing, I would even dare say. And EVOS, I mean, their path is not going to be an easy one, but they're making it look easy.
Yeah, but the chasing
So
after
easy.
Ton X and take him down effortlessly.
Effortless indeed.
Oh
He
my
doesn't even have
goodness.
time to pop the Dominus. He's just running. There's nothing he can do. How often do you see Renekton have to buy Zhonya's? It's just such a tough situation to be in. And VODs, this man, he's putting on a clinic right now.
No sweat on the brows for EVOS
Yeah.
Esports. I mean, it's been a convincing game for them. Now they just have to close this one out. We saw a similar process happen in Game 1 where Divine Esports were able to get ahead. Unlike them though, EVOS have been able to maintain the advantage and keep things going. They're looking towards the second Baron, and that might be the deciding factor here.
Yeah, they're looking onto the Baron 10 seconds away. I don't even think that Divine, they're going to be able to approach though. It's full control from EVOS. Every time you walk near them, they chase you down. They run you out of the jungle. It belongs to them now. And look at G4. Look at Tipper. They're going to be the ones here marking land, making sure he gets nowhere near this pit.
And this is the difficult part about the composition that Divine Esports have drafted. There's no vision, no information, nothing that you can use
can't play from
to
behind.
get knowledge of the Baron pit.
Yeah, you really cannot play from behind. You cannot walk into River. You cannot walk into Baron Pit. There's just so little options. And look at EVOS. They are running the map.
Taking control around the Baron pit now. Divine Esports need to get some information, walk
we go.
back in, but they're walking into gold card of G4. Instead, they're taking down Quay. And the Destiny's going to be used. They're looking to maybe take down Len as well. They move into the Baron pit instead. Maybe just grab this here. G4 will port in. Get ready to fight in the mid side if they have to, but Baron started up.
Baron started up, and Baron's gonna be finished off just like that. Olaf as well as Kaiser, so much damage. And G4 right now, he is just zoning once again. There's nothing that Divine can do. It's gotta feel a bit desperate for them. Tarnex, he wants to get something, anything. He wants to just get this turret, please.
Just gets the environmental goal. Doesn't even get the full caddy, but we'll get the bot side turret finally. Divine Esports, I mean, 14,000 behind. I mean,
brutal.
it is really brutal here.
And we have to remember, we saw the journey of Divine Esports all the way from play-ins. We saw them start weak in play-ins. We saw them start weak in groups. But they are starting weak once again in playoffs, and you don't have many chances. If Divine, you lose this, you go down to the lower bracket, and you face the other Summer Super Cup finalists in one team. It's so brutal.
no.
Oh no, the damage!
Walk in, Land gets taken down by the Captain Rain, and with the Unbreakable, there's not much Divine Esports can do to stop EVOS from walking onto the inhibitor. They pull in Coyote with the upper hand, and facing off against EVOS, Divine are falling apart.
Divine, they are falling apart. If you look at game 1 to game 4, it looks like a different team. And VODs,
The juggernauts of the summer season have come back in. They're taking down the first with the Captain Rain, looking to take down the second, the third. All the numbers coming across. EVOS Esports with their third game win will take away the series.
18-3, a dominant performance from EVOS, and they were 3-1 here against the